Hi everyone, it's Cathy Meyer, Master Certified Divorce Coach, and I'm here with divorcedmoms.com, and it's time to talk about divorce. Tonight, I want to talk about how 4 ways in which the family court system fails to protect women during a high conflict divorce. And I guess the main word is failure to protect, because all 4 ways that I'm going to talk about is all based around a failure to protect. We have a system that is set up to protect litigants, and the majority of the time they fail to protect the litigants in most need of protection. So let's talk about if you're in a high conflict divorce with an ex who is defiant of court orders. There's a process that you can use in family court system to deal with an ex who doesn't pay their child support, or an ex who defies any aspect of your divorce decree, visitation, child custody, and it's called contempt of court. You can file a contempt of court order to try to get the judge to order your husband to comply. Well, here's the problem with that. The expense is devastating. You have to hire a lawyer. You're talking probably $2,500 to $5,000 for a contempt of court order. And then you get a judge who says you're in contempt of court. And that's it. They hand down a new court order saying do this or else. And they're handing it to a man that doesn't care about court orders. He's already proven he doesn't care about court orders. So they're handing you another court order saying do this or else. But the or else never happens, and he just defies the new court order. It's I don't know how many times my ex was told by a judge, you have 30 days, do it or else. But nothing ever happened. And you finally get to a point to where if you don't have the money to continue fighting, or you don't have the emotional stamina, you give up and you go home and you quit, because the family court system, judges, psychiatrists, child advocates are not going to protect you. Number 2, the family court system isn't set up to protect women against the crushing financial expense of divorce. Most women going through a divorce are stay-at-home moms, or they're the lower earning individual in the relationship. So if you want a divorce, or if you've been left and have to get a divorce, you have to come up with money to pay for a divorce. Divorce attorneys don't care if you're the higher earning spouse or the lower earning spouse. They're going to charge you $250, $500 an hour. There's no recourse. There's no assistance. You can't go to legal aid unless you're a victim of domestic violence. And they are so overwhelmed that you rarely get help there. Judges and court personnel are all ill-equipped to identify and deal with, an irrational ex. So you're stuck in a cycle. You have to come up with the money to get a divorce. Then you have to come up with the money to continue going to court over and over and over when this high conflict individual is defying court orders, taking you to court for no reason. He gets pissed off because he didn't want the kid to play basketball, and you signed the kid up to play basketball. So there you are back in court, him trying to get a judge to tell you not to let your child play basketball. It's very money intensive, and the courts do not make amends for that. They don't put any thought, they don't put any regard to how much it costs you to try to protect yourself and your children in the family court system. They fail to protect victims of domestic abuse, and this is huge. And it's most victims of domestic abuse don't have enough evidence to go to court and prove that they've been abused, they've been beaten, they've been raped, because they live in fear. They're not going to call the police and file police reports. They're not going to go to the hospital for a black eye. That's the nature of the beast. These women live in terror of making one wrong move. And when you live with a domestic abuser, going to the emergency room is asking for more abuse. So someone who's a victim of domestic abuse finally decides they've had enough. They have children with this abuser. They file for divorce and go to divorce court and make accusations of abuse. If that's going to fly in family court, you better have it on tape. You better have several police reports. You better have records of hospital stays, because if not, you're going to be viewed as an alienator, and women all over the country are losing custody of their children to violent men because judges, psychiatrists, child advocates, once again, are ill-equipped to understand the nature of domestic abuse and domestic violence. Number 4, let's talk about that. The family court system fails to protect your child. If you're in a high conflict divorce situation, the best interest doctrine flies out the window, because if you've got a bully of an ex who uses the court to punish you and uses your child as a pawn against you, and then you end up in court several times, judges don't care about anything but clearing their dockets. Judges want 2 friendly parents who appear to be working together. And if you're the one who's going back to court, if you're the one filing complaints or filing motions, you're going to appear to be the unfriendly parent. That judge is going to punish you, and when he does, he punishes your children, because he leaves your children open to the damage that an irrational bully ex can do to them. And it's, I'm sure the men's rights movement would have a lot to say about it, because, I lost my children, I lost custody of my children, when the vast majority of them don't even seek custody of their children. But when it comes right down to it, women are less likely to be protected by the system that is set up to protect them. I wish I could tell you, I wish I had tips on how to deal with it and what to do about it. It's, this is what I can say. You have to choose which battles to fight. If an ex, when you're in a high conflict divorce situation, you have to keep your expectations low. If your ex is ordered to pay child support, that doesn't mean he's going to pay child support. So you have to keep yourself in a place financially to be able to survive in case he stops paying child support. But because if he does, it could take months to get any recourse from the courts. If you're a victim of domestic abuse, look for a women's advocate group. I don't have any experience with this, but there are women's advocate groups out there that can support you and walk with you through the process. Call a local domestic violence shelter and ask them what you need to do to protect yourself even before you enter the divorce process. As far as the financial expense, it's possible to go to court as a pro se litigant without an attorney. You can look online. Most jurisdictions now have everything online that you need to know. You can take clinics. I know where I live in Middle Tennessee and in Nashville, they have clinics for pro se litigants, clinics on custody, clinics on child support, clinics on jurisdiction and the rules of the court. So, if you got the fortitude and if you want to do battle for yourself and your children, you can do it alone without an attorney. And as far as the best interest of your children, if you're divorced from a bully, if you're divorced from someone who's going to use his children, there's not much that you can do about it except be there for your children. Undo what he does to them by loving them, validating them. And because you can't change who he is. And the courts are not going to make him behave. I wish I could think of the quote about not being able to legislate morality. You can't. You can't legislate morality, but you can legislate behavior. But the family court system is not going to do it. So don't wait for it to happen. All right. I'm glad you dropped by. I hope I've hit a nerve or two. And if you are in the middle of a high conflict divorce, don't give up hope. I went through it for 6 years, 7 years, and it comes to an end. As soon as your children age out of the system, the bully that you used to be married to can't bully you anymore. So take a deep breath, continue to fight if you want to fight, and stay strong. Thanks for coming by. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.